name is Sitin Harizamenti Kamis. I present about white-collar crime, and my focus in bribery and corruption. White-collar crime is attributed to Sutherland, who coined the term reaction to assumption that crime was a working-class phenomenon. White-collar crime refers to non-violent illegal activities that are committed by individuals or businesses and government organizations for financial or personal gain. While most of the focus of crime by theorists had been on working-class ground, Sutherland argued that there existed opportunities for white-collar workers, in other words, those in managerial and non-manual occupation, to commit crimes through their employment.
According to the FBI website, white-collar crime is lying, cheating, and stealing. Many white-collar crime are difficult to prosecute because the perpetrators use very sophisticated technological means to conceal their open complex transactions. Sutherland suggested there were two forms of white-collar crime, which is corporate crime and occupational crime. Corporate crime is committed by individuals with half of the company they've been working for. Secondly, occupational crime, and this is usually crime committed against the company or its customer for the individual gain of the employee. These occupational crimes usually focus on utilitarian gain. Examples of white-collar crime include bribery, Ponzi and pyramid scheme, insider trading, embezzlement, cybercrime, which is computer and internet fraud, credit card fraud, phone and telemarketing fraud, mail fraud, insurance fraud, healthcare fraud, copyright infringement, trade secret thief, money laundering, identity thief, forgery, and tax evasion.
Bribery and corruption are serious business. From the grand corruption of high-level officials to the everyday dishonest travellers and business. Corruption and bribery can be devastating to your organization and should not be tolerated. So what is corruption? Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. It can be grand, petty, or political. It doesn't matter what kind, how much money is involved, or who doesn't it. It is still wrong. Bribery is a crime in which money, a favor, or something of value as promised him, given to or taken from an individual or corporation in an attempt to sway his or its view, opinions, or decisions. Bribery can take many forms, including grand corruption, facilitation payment, business gift, donation, hospitality, in-kind help and support, perks to relatives, and more.
Let's talk about international anti-bribery laws and conventions. In order to deal with corruption and bribery across borders, many international organizations have created anti-bribery conventions, which require member countries to enact anti-bribery laws. The United Nations, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, the European Union, and the Organization of American States are all examples of international organizations that have their own convention regarding bribery and corruption. When countries are members of this organization, they agree to follow standards and conventions set by those organizations. Anti-bribery laws and conventions include the FCPA, or the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, the OECD Convention on Combating Bribery, and the European Union.
There is lots of articles on the Airbus case already. We've been involved in some podcasts as well, and the link to those is on the bottom of the screen. But I thought it might be helpful just to take a quick look at some of the numbers involved in the Airbus case. So, if you look, for example, first of all, let's look at the fine. The main numbers, there is in the United Kingdom £991 million fine. In France, 2.1 billion, and in the US, 427 million. So huge fines in 3 countries, a fascinating case for a lot of reasons, one of which is that it was a United Kingdom government agency that brought the case firstly to the SFO, and then subsequently brought it in the French and US authority as well in this team type of investigation. Let's look at some of the other numbers as well that look at the 30 million document in this investigation. In addition, there were 40 interviews, and those interviews were shared with prosecutors. As a result, Airbus exited 63 top and senior managers from the business bribes were paid in some 13 countries that were under investigation.
In conclusion, numerous types of white-collar crime exist and they are increasing in number. In contrast to other types of crimes which are declining in incidence, the crimes occurs in a wide range of institutions and organizations including businesses, the medical field, government, religious organizations and others. Of all the types of white-collar crime, consumer fraud is the most prevalent, with high profit made on substandard or dangerous products. Corporate irresponsibility resulting in environmental offences and adverse impacts on occupational health and safety are other major areas of white-collar crime.